Konami has been trying to keep Floodgates down, but the players always find a way. And the latest Floodgate that players have to worry about is none other than Aurora Paragon. And now, this might be a card some players are familiar with, maybe not. It's been a common for many years, only out of Extreme Victory, so a lot of players might not even know it exists. But we're seeing players actually utilize this at the end of their combo lines to cut the opponents out of all special summons, which is actually kind of the standard. But the reason players are really utilizing Aurora Paragon now is because ever since the release of the latest Forbidden card, Forbidden Crown, players have been looking into card techs such as Condemned Witch, who searches all of the Forbidden cards. But Condemned Witch also has a secondary ability as a quick effect. By attributing itself during the opponent's turn, you can actually special summon a level 4 fairy directly from the deck. So players are not only using it to search out forbidden cards like the Crown, but they're actually using the Witch's second effect during the opponent's turn to summon out Floodgates, such as Aurora Paragon, which is actually pretty broken. So Aurora Paragon is, while it's face up on the board, neither player can special summon monsters. Pretty much the standard of the Floodgates. But when a monster is actually normal summoned, you destroy this card. So that has led many players to actually steer away from teching Aurora Paragon for many years. But now, with Condemned Witch being the reason to summon these monsters, things like Aurora Paragon can actually be played because players are finding combos such as summoning Condemned Witch, searching the Forbidden Dress, and then during the opponent's turn, when Aurora Paragon is on the board, you can actually utilize the Forbidden Dress to keep it from destroying itself when a monster is normal summoned. So the drawbacks of Aurora Paragon are no longer there, as well as neither player can special summon monsters. And as we've been seeing in the previous YCSs as well as other events, a lot of decks like Mitsurugi who don't use their normal summon can set up quite the interruptive board and then end it on a very strong normal summon that we saw with things like the Fossil Dyna, the barrier statues. It really doesn't matter. Right here is where a lot of players will be summoning the Condemned Witch, searching a forbidden card which can be interruption as well, and then during the opponent's turn, quick effect into cards like Aurora Paragon. So we're seeing all these Floodgates returning to the scene, and yes, it might not be as smooth as searching the barrier statue off the granite, but again, players will find a way to make this transaction smooth. But we have to mention that yes, you can use the Aurora Paragon, but other players have been utilizing Barrier Statue of the Light when we talk about Condemned Witch. So not only would you be able to search powerful forbidden cards like the Droplets, like the Crown, but then during the opponent's turn, you're then able to utilize Barrier Statue of the Light or Aurora Paragon, cutting them off of all special summons. And if you run a light deck, you yourself will not be restricted with that Barrier Statue. So that is why we're seeing not only players starting to utilize these cards, but we have a few price increases as well to actually go over. Because with Aurora Paragon being only a common from Extreme Victory, the price of this card has been going up dramatically. And essentially, they're pretty close to $5 a piece for a single copy of Aurora Paragon. And now, this is page 2. We actually see $4.99 there at that page with 20 cents in there. But on page 1, we will actually see, again, yeah, you have a few cheaper ones that are damaged, maybe one for $1.80. But once you go down very quickly, they shoot to that $5 mark. So that is, again, with just it being tested, not even applied in a regular format in the TCG. And then we do have to mention Condemned Witch, as that secret rare from Soul Fusion has been sitting at about $10 for quite some time. And that's for unlims, that's for first eds. So if you have a Condemned Witch, just know you're actually sitting on a little bit of value there. And that value actually has a slight chance to increase as players start utilizing this in the near future. But we do have to mention other cards that some players have been utilizing recently and we will be seeing heavily teched in the future are cards like Arc Lord Escados, as well as Harpy's Featherstorm. Because I think with Harpy's Featherstorm especially, players are rather surprised when it wasn't hit on the list. As we know, Featherstorm has easy access. Yes, it's not as easy as, overlaying to a 4, searching the Fossil Dyna off the granite, and then using the normal summon. But in other decks, searching that 1 of Trap card is pretty easy, especially when we have cards like Forbidden Thrust. So we've seen many decks, especially the Mitsurugi, being able to just overlay into things like the Castel, search the Harpy's Feather Storm off the thrust, set it, and then on the opponent's turn, it is essentially GG, because as we know, there is no monster effects activating at all. So whether it was things like the barrier statues or the Harpy's Feather Storm, we're just seeing again, time and time again, players just are utilizing these Floodgates at the very end of their combo line to shut the opponent off of any forms of play. And then we just mentioned Yugioh is actually an interesting little one, because this is a card we've been mentioning on the channel for quite some time, and then it actually took quite the hit in price as soon as Protoss got unbanned, because as we know, Protoss was a little easier to summon than the Yugiohs, and players immediately gravitate towards the easier monster to summon. But ever since we've actually seen the Protoss being banned, we're seeing Yugiohs being teched, especially in decks that can utilize the link that changes its type. So no matter what, you blow up that type and then set off the opponent from being able to summon anything of that type. And as we go into the future of Yu-Gi-Oh, we're going to be seeing that that actually is going to be paying dividends as time goes on. So Yugioh is definitely a card to be looking at. And again, with only one ultra rare copy, we're going to be seeing that copy go up in price. It's about $5 right now. We won't pull up the charts, but do keep that in mind, because as we go into the future, those numbers will definitely be increasing, especially if it doesn't get hit on any ban list, as well as it only being an ultra rare from its set. So that is actually very interesting to look out for. But I do want to reiterate how important it is that players are utilizing cards such as Aurora Paragon, because for quite some time it has heavily been slept on. And I know, especially here on the channel, even in our second video on the channel, we've actually been trying to just scream from the rooftops about how good Condemned Witch is, how good it is with barrier statues, or even cards like the Aurora Paragon. So it is actually very refreshing to see this actually cycle back into the actual meta game in the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! And they can also search other level 4 fairies that have pretty good effects that actually prevent them from being destroyed or targeted by card effects. So that's actually pretty good as well. So not only do you have a variety of Floodgates to summon off the Condemned Witch, but you do have just some barriers as well that once they're summoned, opponent's going to have quite the hard time to get over them, especially in formats such as Genesis. So guys, what do you think of Aurora Paragon? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you just simply tired of the Floodgates Konami keeps having rise up? Or are you in love with the Condemned Witch combo, being able to summon it, search forbidden cards, and then as a quick effect, go into Floodgates at the end of your combo line? Hey, a lot of players are in love with it. I know I definitely was. So what are your thoughts? If you love it, if you hate it, no matter what, comment that down below. And now, we're going to have other videos flashing up above, so definitely do check those out. But most importantly, stay safe, have a good night, and suck it, nerds.